Okay, this is just a test,
Yes.
and we're seeing what kind of colors we have. And
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yes.
I guess we'll stay here. Yeah, you look good. Okay, so tell that story about you were saying at supper tonight about how when you were pre-K, you never went to movie theaters.
No, we didn't go to movie theaters much because, well, Mom and Dad always chose what we should go to. You know, it's like Walt Disney shows, and when we were in Fayette, of course, the movie man wanted the preacher's kids to go, and so if the preacher's kids went, it would be a good show for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't take too much advantage of it, though. We just went once in a while, and we got to go free.
But you said you also got in free to like go into Upper Iowa stuff.
Oh yes, yes. When we went to Upper Iowa, Dad would take us to the. Well, we went to some football games too.
Okay, yeah.
And especially with Luther, which was our bitter rival. And we even went up to Decorah one time too.
Oh sure, because that'd be just
It was just Mom never went though.
Right, right.
Yeah, just us kids and Dad.
But like now, I remember reading in Granddad's diaries that he would go up frequent times to the basketball games.
Yeah,
now, would you guys go along then too, or?
Well, I know I did. I don't know. I don't know if Lois and DeWitt did or not, but I would go with Dad, and then I would go running all around. I really didn't watch the game.
That's what the kids do today too. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we got to go free to those too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that was usually on a Friday night, and so that was okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought that was interesting because Sarah, we were talking about how that she talked to you that when you were a preacher's kid, there were certain things you could do and you couldn't do, and so I thought that was interesting. Okay, and your full name is June Clinton Rutt.
Yes, it is.
Okay, there's no middle name.
No middle name because Mom said when we got married, that would be our maiden name.
Oh, okay. So is that what? But now does that happen to Lillian then?
Yeah, Mom never had a Lillian Guyote. No.
She never had a middle name either?
She didn't have a middle name, neither did Aunt Romy. I can't remember if Phyllis did or not.
Well, how about Lois then?
Lois never had, no, she didn't.
Really? Okay.
DeWitt decided he wanted a middle name, and so he named himself DeWitt Conrad Clinton.
Well, he did name himself. Oh, I knew it was DeWitt C. Clinton.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and is that because of you guys, Conrad was kind of that home place?
Conrad was the hometown.
For the Clintons?
Of Grandma and Granddad Guyote.
That sounds like
Grandpa was the banker in
Right.
Conrad until the Depression hit, and then of course he was knocked out of the bank, and he went into being an insurance
That's
salesman.
about insurance, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
And
But I remember you talking about how you'd go to the bank though, when he was the banker though.
yeah, we'd get to go to the bank, but he would, if we went in the back, he would say, "Don't touch anything." Most of the time we didn't. He would watch us very carefully.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. Okay. Okay, now, but you weren't born in Conrad, or were you?
I was born in Parsonage at Waverly, Iowa,
Oh,
which
you were
is no
Waverly
more.
then. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because, okay. And then that was, and their church burned down too at Waverly?
Yep, that was the church that burned down too.
Because I remember we went to Waverly for
Yeah.
something, whatever it was. And,
Yeah,
okay.
and we did have, you remember in our house in the solarium, we had that one window that was from the
Oh, was
Waverly
it?
church. That was the window that Dave took. That little half of window, stained
Okay.
glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that came from that
Hmm.
church.
Okay, all right. So, okay, so then.
Yeah, I was born in Waverly.
So if you were born in Waverly in 23,
Yeah.
Granddad went to Fayette in 25, right?
Dee was born in Waverly also.
So I wonder how many years he was in Waverly. I mean, I'm sure it says in the record
Well, if
somewhere.
Dee was born there, he was 4 years older than I.
Mhm.
So,
So it was at least there that long then.
yeah. 1923, 4 from 23 would be 1919, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we were there
Must have been
evidently.
at least 6 years, if not more.
And then, of course, from Waverly, we went to Cedar Rapids, St. Paul's.
Oh, you did?
For about 1 or 2 years.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
So, see, I think I was about 4 years old when we moved to Fayette.
Okay, so you moved to Fayette from Cedar Rapids?
Yep, yep.
Oh, okay, because like
Yeah, Dad was the assistant minister there.
Yeah, that's what I
and
thought, yeah.
as you know, Grandpa would not want to be an assistant.
No way, baby.
And so it didn't work out too well, and so...
well, it worked out where he went to.
Yeah, but...
Goodness.
I remember Dad saying they had never been to Fayette, and when Dad was driving down from Cedar Rapids to Fayette, we came to Maynard, and Dad said, well, this is Fayette, and Mother just about, she thought, oh, mercy, this is the end of the world.
Did he say that knowing it wasn't Fayette?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And then
I can imagine.
I remember him saying that story, but I don't ever remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I'd imagine so, especially coming from Cedar Rapids to this little college town, because like I assume that's what Fayette was when you moved there. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you had the college.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I mean, you would have the school, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it was still a pretty small town.
Yes, it was. Very small.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. What did you like to do as a kid?
As a child.
Did you like to run, play, bike? Dolls, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, one Christmas, Dad and one of the men in the church, who was an older man, and he liked to do carpentry work.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dad and Walt Hunt was his name,
Mm-hmm.
Walter Hunt. And he and Walter went down in his basement, Walter Hunt's basement, and they took this box, this wooden box, and made Lois and I dollhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was I think that was one of the best Christmases that we had. And then later on, Leanna and Laura had that
Right.
dollhouse.
Now this was the dollhouse that had lights in it.
Yes,
Right.
this was the dollhouse that had lights. They put lights in it, and they had, of course, Dad liked fireplaces.
Right.
So we had a fireplace, and then they put a metal tube up the fireplace so it came out the chimney. We could put incense in the chimney, and the smoke would come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had little windows in it.
Yes, little windows.
Yeah, and I think it even had like kind of shingly stuff on the top.
Yeah, it had shingles on it and linoleum for the floors.
Oh, it did. Okay, I'd forgotten that.
Linoleum
Okay.
on the floors. Yep. So, yeah, there would be the living room on one side, and a bedroom, and family. Well, let's see, the bedroom would be upstairs, the living room downstairs, and the kitchen. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I remember playing with it too. Yeah, that was a cool dollhouse.
It was quite a Christmas.
I would think so.
But that was one thing I did. But another thing, I like to roller skate. We would roller skate.
Well, yeah,
And-
Fayette's a good town for roller skates. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we used to play hopscotch and marbles and jacks.
Mhm.
Nobody plays jacks anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got a little older, we always played croquet too in the yard.
Yeah, because you guys have a nice lawn there.
Yeah, we did have a nice lawn. And then as we got a little older, Mom would take us up at 6 o'clock in the morning because she was a minister's wife and she didn't want the people in the town seeing her playing tennis with her children.
Mm-hmm.
So she taught us how to play tennis. We would go
At
up
the courts there at Upper Iowa.
on the tennis courts in Upper Iowa, and we would play tennis, and then we'd go up to lots of times in the afternoon and play tennis.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah, that was fun.
I was gonna say,
And
yeah.
then as far as a bike, I never did have a bike until, let's see, we went to Grandma Giles in Conrad where Mom had a bike, no brakes,
Sure.
and we brought it back, and we put a little red box on the back of it, and when you had to brake, you just
put your foot down.
Yeah, you just put your foot down, and it was always a great thing if you could ride down Church Hill on that bike.
Which is a very steep hill.
That was a very steep hill, and there was a road going east and west at the bottom.
Yeah.
And you had to be sure there was nobody coming.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I did that once, and that was enough.
That would be enough, because you might not have had a second time if somebody hit you. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's a very, I don't know. I can't remember really riding a bike down that hill. It's like, I don't think I ever would have wanted to.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, man. Would you guys sled and stuff down that hill then, or not really?
That was, yeah, Church Hill was the sliding hill.
Still going down that front way?
Yeah, right. But
man.
you know, we kind of, all of us would watch. And of course, we didn't, everybody else had a flexible flyer. But we didn't. All we had was one of those kinds that you had to shift your body in order to go right or left. Yep. We didn't have anything to steer.
No.
I remember.
You could probably make it all the way down to Main Street.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we tried to see how far we could go.
Well, I would think you could, yeah.
Right. At one time, we had, Dad put a big plank, and he put some runners on the front and the back of the plank, and then, and it had like a wagon steer, and he put us on the back of his car, and we rode around in town on that. And that was, we did that once, and that was enough too.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. So where was Grandma at this time? Did she know that Granddad was doing this? Or?
Oh, yeah. Mom, Dad tried to teach Mom to drive the car when we were in Waverly.
Oh, yeah.
They tell me, this is a story was told to me, that he tried to teach Mom to drive the car, and so and Waverly had railroad tracks.
Okay.
And so they were driving along, and I think they were going across the railroad tracks, and I don't know if a train came or not, but she got kind of excited, and so that was the end of the lesson.
Driving?
And she never did learn to drive.
Yeah.
Lois never did
Lois
either.
never did either, yeah.
No, neither one of us did either, because in those days, the boys learned to drive, but the girls didn't learn to drive. And I didn't learn to drive until I met my husband, your dad. And of course, that was a wonderful way to get acquainted.
Ah, very good. Well, okay, let's hear that one. Okay, so, I mean, you don't have to tell us everything, but okay, so when you're dating...
Yeah, when we were dating, like...
He'd give you driving lessons.
Yeah, he would say, now you...
But now this is with a manual transmission, right? I mean, you didn't have automatic.
Yeah, we didn't have automatics, so
yeah.
But he was a good teacher, and I learned to drive, and...
So was this like at Ida Grove then, or in Des Moines, or Dallas
Well, I
Center,
never did in Ida Grove, because I didn't have a car. We just, whenever I went to Ida Grove, the folks either took me, or seems to me there was a bus that we could take too.
Sure.
So we took the bus, and there happened to be the fourth grade teacher that lived. See, the folks lived on 37th Street, and Betty's folks, Betty Wood was her name. She was a fourth grade teacher, and her folks lived up around 44th, something like that.
Okay.
So I can't remember whether she had a car or how that was, but anyway, she and I would come down to Des Moines together and then go home back together.
So where'd you do the driving lessons at?
But I wasn't driving then.
I know, so where'd you do the driving lessons at then?
I think maybe she drove the car.
Yeah. So when did you and Dad go out driving?
When did we? Oh, well, when I was teaching in Ida Grove, I got I got acquainted with Grandma and with his folks, and we sang in the Messiah together. It was a community in Messiah, And so I sang soprano. Grandma Lois sang soprano.
Naturally.
And Raymond's dad sang bass. And so we got acquainted that way. And then, of course, when I used to have my supper, there was no place to eat except the bakery and the hotel. Well, the hotel was a nice place to eat, but it was kind of expensive.
Bendy, I bet it was.
And the bakery was cheaper, and so we would go down there sometimes, and there would be Raymond's dad.
Right, because Grandma Lois sometimes didn't want to cook, so she'd just say...
She did. Monday was wash day, and she'd say, I'm tired, you go down to the bakery.
Right.
So he'd go down to the bakery, and being a minister, and being a very outgoing man, he got acquainted, and he we learned about each other, and he says, well, I have a son named Charles Raymond, and he teaches band up in Esterville.
Okay.
And so one weekend, he came home, and they invited me to his house. And so we got acquainted that way. And then, as we got more acquainted, he would come down for the weekend, and then Sunday he would go back home about in the afternoon. And so I went back with him. I drove up to Esterville in the afternoon. There was a bus about 11 o'clock that came back to a little town close to Ida Grove, but I can't remember the name of it right now. And so I would get on that 11 o'clock bus at night, drive all night, and get into the little town Holstein. And about 6 o'clock in the morning, and Raymond's dad would be there to pick me up, bring me home, and I would teach all day.
Oh, to be young again, huh?
And of course, when I would be up at Esterville, why, we would go out driving, and of course...
Well, that'd be a good time to learn to drive in, because they got a lot of hills up there, too.
Yeah, so I would learn to drive a little there, too. But then I really got, I didn't get my driver's license until we got married in Dallas Center. And I went to Adele, and that's where I got my driver's license, and I thought, oh, good. There's no parallel parking here. All you do is go in,
slanted,
and so I didn't have to parallel park. But anyway, so that's when I didn't get my driver's license until then.
Yeah, and like I say, yeah, you would have been, you would have been the only one, because like you say, Lois didn't have it.
Nope.
Grandma Clinton didn't have it.
Nope.
I don't think Grandma Lois ever drove, did she?
Mom didn't. No, Lois didn't. Grandma Lois didn't either.
Yeah.
No, so.
Okay. I just thought that was interesting. Okay, so one of my questions I had was, how much money did you make selling sandwiches out of your dorm room?
I used to sell sandwiches, peanut butter sandwiches and jelly. Sometimes I'd go downtown and
was this just on Sunday nights?
Oh, no, I would sell them on weekday nights, too. We had to be in by 10 o'clock.
Right. So they get the munchies and stuff.
Yeah, so anybody would want to, and sometimes I would go down and get some of these ice cream cake rolls.
Yeah.
And then I would have that up for sale, too.
Oh, how'd you keep that frozen?
What?
How'd you keep it frozen then?
Well, can't remember what I did, but we did.
Maybe you just did that in the winter and left it outside or something.
I don't remember now. Well, yeah, we could put it outside, we had windows.
Right, because you wouldn't have had coolers and stuff like that. Yeah.
But most of the time it was just peanut butter and jelly, or I believe it was probably ham sandwich or something like that. And then I think I would sell them for 12 cents a piece. I'd get a loaf of bread,
Sure.
And it was surprising the number. I'd put up little signs on the dorm floors and sell when it would be open, and they'd come down. And
So do you think you just started that just because you were hungry, or what?
Did I what?
I mean, where'd you get this idea to do it? I mean, did you just start just because you got the munchies, or what?
Yeah, people were hungry, and so I thought, well, that would be an idea, and so I wanted some money.
Because like now, I mean, you just went to Cornell. You never went to like Or no, wait a minute. Did you do some years at Ellsworth too, or
I
not?
went to Ellsworth my first year.
Because the folks were still there.
Yeah, we were still in Iowa Falls, and so I wanted to go into music, and they had a good music conservatory there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took all of my credits, and we wrote down to Cornell to see if they would all transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't lose any credits.
Oh, good.
So we did that for 1 year, and then my second year, and third, fourth, I moved
You were
to
at Cornell, yeah.
Cornell.
Okay.
And that was because Mom and Dad went to Cornell,
Okay.
and so they thought it would be nice that one of their children would go to Cornell.
Because, of course, when you guys were at Fayette, that's when Lois and Dee
Yeah.
ended up going to Upper Iowa, because they
Yeah.
were right there.
Right.
Okay.
So had we been in Fayette, of course, I probably
been Upper Iowa, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, when we moved back, Dave and John went to Cornell
Mhm.
too.
Well, yeah, it was kind of nice that you were right there anyway.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I have down here good stories about your kids. And then I put down the one that you, of course, know that my story about that Grandma Rutt would always say that,
Yes.
that when I was little, on the trip to California, I told her that I was Daddy's pal. I wasn't your pal, I was Daddy's pal.
Yeah,
or whatever.
right.
So, and we know about Dave pushing Sue out the window or something like
Yes,
that.
that was in Kellogg.
Because I always hear that one.
Somehow, that's where there was Dave and Dave and John had those bunk beds.
Okay, yeah.
And Sue evidently was in their room, and they were playing on the window, and the screen fell out, and she fell out too.
And I mean, it was just like a one story, right? It wasn't.
Yeah, it was just one
Yeah,
story.
okay.
So she really didn't get hurt,
Okay.
but yeah, that was one thing. But one thing I remember about you too, as we were older in Fayette, of course, supper, we always had our supper at night, and we'd all be around the table.
Especially at the first house on
Well, I can't remember.
King Street or whatever that was.
Yeah, in.
Because that was a really cramped house.
Yes, that was. That was.
I mean, it was a nice house.
Yeah, but you three all slept in that
I know,
room
in that
together.
one room, yeah.
And you had a desk that Dave had made, and that's the one where John would study, and you two would be asleep. I think you go to bed.
But yeah, that's what I was telling Tierney one time that it's. I guess I was just always used to having a light on when I went to sleep, because I remember even when I was at the second house in Fayette, Dave would be up studying, and you know, he'd put his headphones on, and the lights would be on, and I shared the room with him, and I'd just go to sleep. I guess I forgot about that. That yeah, at the first house in Fayette, John would stay up studying all the time.
Yeah. But I don't remember. It seems to me it was in the house, the Smith house, as we used to call it, our brick house, that we would all come home at night, you know, when we'd have supper, and we'd all have things we were talking about, and all of a sudden, here would go your hand up, and everybody was talking, and you wanted to talk, so you raised your hand.
There you go. That's how you do that. That's right. Yeah, that was a nice kitchen area there too, where the table was in there.
Yep. Yeah.
Because like you said, you played sometimes in that house.
Yes. When I was a child, growing up in Fayette, and Dad was the minister, he saw that house built.
Oh, you did? I didn't
yes,
realize
it
that.
belonged to the Smith brothers who ran the grocery store.
Okay.
And the Bert Smith was the older of the two men. There was Bert and Clyde, and I think there was one other. And Dad saw that house built by itself because...
I did not realize that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Bert was everything had to be just right. So that house was very well built.
I mean, how many ever years later we finally got it? Yeah, it still was.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that was fun to come back.
Now, did it have the solarium then too? Or would you,
Yes, it had the solarium, but he built it because his mother-in-law was living with them. And so the place that was our dining room.
Mm-hmm.
That was her living quarters. That was, but later it was, after she died, they made it into a little playroom, and that's where Florence Adeline Smith, the daughter that I used to play with, I would get to go down there, and she had a little playroom all of her own.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And so we would go down and play in that room, and then, and of course, over in the corner, which was, it was by the stove. There was a window there, and then on the corner there was a dumbwaiter that you could pull, you had to pull up and down, and that's where you put your food, you know, to keep it cold in the basement. So that was quite a nice house.
Yeah, and you can, you know, in that dumbwaiter you can also drop parakeets down it.
Yeah, well, no, that was the laundry chute.
Oh, was that the laundry chute?
That was the laundry chute, yes.
The adventures we had.
Yes.
Well, okay, so, because I'm going to share this tape with John and Dave and Sue, so you got any other good stories about them that you remember growing up?
Yeah, and I don't remember now.
Well, let's see here. Okay, so like John's the firstborn.
Yeah.
He's born in...
He was born, well, you know, in Dallas Center, and we lived in what you might call a teacherage. We lived up in the attic on the 3rd floor. The people on the 2nd floor, his wife taught commercial studies, and her husband was a retired industrial arts teacher from Des Moines. So he was retired, and he would stay home during the day, and we had, somehow they got a hold of little Iowa-grown peaches, and he would cook peaches up, and so we would come home at night, and we'd say, what are you going to have to eat? And so we'd kind of each decide, well, we always had some peaches from him, and we'd all get together, and usually just the two of us would get together either in our apartment or go down to their apartment. And the people that owned the house lived in the 1st floor. Well, then they sold the house, and so we moved from the top floor down to the 1st floor. And that's where John was born. And out in the solarium there, little area, was where the crib was. And that's where John was born. And
but he was born in a hospital, though, right?
Yeah, he was born.
Yeah.
Our doctor went to the Lutheran Hospital in Des Moines. And I always got there in time.
Well, yes, that's a good thing.
But when Mary Beth was born, the last child, I got there before the doctor did. And the nurse had to start.
Oh, okay, I'd forgotten that, okay.
Yeah. So,
okay. Let's see here. I don't know, anything...
we kind of moved around fast, didn't we?
That's fine. Well, what... I know John played lots of instruments. Did he start out playing piano, or...?
Yes, he started playing piano, and of course, as you know, he had that one famous piece he always played.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of about... Hello. Oh, okay.
Stop.
Yep.
Time to stop.
Just not sure how.
Oh.
I'll try this. We're back on live.
That's long. Yeah, that's long.
I know. I found some really good ones. So where do you think that's at then?
That one's
Kellogg. I assume it's a Christmas picture, right?
Yeah, that was Kellogg. You had evidently fallen down and gotten...
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, that was Christmas. Kellogg.
Okay, good to say in there. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, so that's
Grandma. That's my grandma and granddad Clinton. She had red hair, auburn hair. Yep. I don't remember. Yeah, this was. Here I am.
Oh, that's a good family portrait of you guys.
Yeah. Well, the Schilling, he,
I didn't realize I had one of those. That was a nice picture of those guys, their wedding picture.
yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Every year they take a picture. One year Willard be the last one, and 1 year Dad would be in the back. But they just always. And that's Lois. 1918 in Mason City. Oh yeah, they were up there about a year. And this is 1920, and DeWitt came along. See, there's Willard. They were pretty close there. And then here came DeWitt. This was at Fayette, I think, 1921. Yeah, and then I finally came along. That must have been at Waverly, I would suppose. And this was Dee and Lois. And then I came into the picture. Did he put anything on the back? Don't know. This, I know this was at Fayette. Yeah, I remember that dress.
So where'd you get your dresses? Grandma make them, or did you guys buy them?
Oh, I think those were bought, but a lot of times I'd get hand-me-downs from Lois.
Naturally.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah. This is at Fayette. Here we're getting up into 6th grade or so. Lois is in high school. Yep. And Mom made our, oh yes, Mom did make those dresses for us. She made her dress too, I remember that. But most of the time we bought them. And there's Grandma and Grandpa. And there's a good picture.
Oh, excellent picture of Grandma.
Mom, very good. This must have been when we were at Fayette. A long time ago. And I don't know which that is. But
who would that be, I wonder?
That'd be one of the, that might be his grandfather or great-grandfather.
I wonder.
I don't know if it would have been on the back somehow. But anyway. Yep, there we go. Oh yeah,
okay.
That's really, that's an old one, isn't it? Here. Where were these?
You must have given them to me, because they were downstairs.
That's Mom.
This definitely looks like Granddad's.
Yeah.
Well, it says J.D. Clinton there, yeah.
The Crooked Ways of Great City, South Station. John D.
Oh, it says must be like at Boston or something?
Warren Hall. I would think this would be Boston. Yeah, this was when they were at Boston. Yep.
So see, that one guy that went out there and did all that looking around the guile stuff, maybe he'd be interested in this stuff too.
Richard, oh yeah, Richard, yeah, he probably would. Yeah, this was when they came out on their honeymoon. But this was the men's glee club.
Apparently.
Right, used to, yeah. Outside activities. First view of Boston Fire in Cambridge. Of course, they lived in Cambridge. And, oh, there's where I first preached. The Hunter Club in Massachusetts. Dan Baptist, first annual. Gospel team. Yeah, they used to have gospel teams that would go out to different churches. These maybe were some of his New England Convention Methodist men. Chautauqua. I don't know. When I saw this book. Oh, this is Plymouth Rock, of course.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, out in Massachusetts. Boston Ferry. This is very interesting. Washington statue. Commons.
Boston Commons.
In Boston by Moonlight. Their dad liked Ralph Waldo Emerson. He liked him. Concord's David Men Bust. Men. Right. Corner of Beer's home. Escapes to Clyde Ellington. Philip and Stoney, they must have been some of the third floor of the home of Sammy Maywell and a local organization. Yeah, this must have been at Boston, some of his friends. Here's Cambridge.
So how was it, I mean, he went to Cornell, but so then how was it he decided to go to Boston for seminary?
He had signed to be a coach.
Oh, okay.
He had, and some Methodist bishop or somebody came along, and they said, "Have you ever thought about being a minister?" And Dad really hadn't, and then he suggested that he might think about it and go to Boston, so he did.
I never really caught why it was he went to Boston. I mean, he always talked about it. But...
Well, of course, his dad went to Garrett in Northwestern, in Evanston.
Okay.
But I don't know whether he, this bishop got him a scholarship, I think. And so I think that's why he went there. There's an old one that Dave got, and he got it up to their house in Mirabrook. A pretty fine Christmas. This was at Grandma Giles' house. Another Cornell reunion, one Cornell reunion. That was it. To the Helfer family. Well, what do you know? That was my great-grandmother Helfer. She was divorced and married this man Helfer.
So this seems like the writer's grandmother, so he was your great-grandmother. No, is this, so she's at Conrad too then, or what?
No, this is at Cedar Rapids. Well, it says here Akron, Ohio.
Oh.
But
to the farm in Akron.
Yeah.
So that's where they must have been from.
Yeah, this, then Grandma Helfer and her sister, after her husband died, they evidently moved to Cedar Rapids. And I've often wished I knew where that house was, and I don't know the address of it or anything.
Well, yeah.
This is Sheffield. June 27, 1950, the first administration of baptism. Home farm, Chapin, Iowa. Hampton, yeah, that's still the church. Still there, they've made some corrections. There's Grandma.
Well, I remember going to Hampton Church one time, yeah.
Yeah, and this was, that was J.W. Clinton.
So who's that?
John W. Clinton. He was a minister too, John, you know.
So this is my granddad Clinton's grandmother.
Yes.
Because J.W. was...
Yeah. That would have been DeWitt Clinton's.
But that's DeWitt, though?
This is DeWitt, yeah.
That's Granddad's dad.
That's his dad, yeah.
I remember seeing that picture before.
Yep, that's Granddad. She loved dogs.
So this would have been
his
mother?
I would believe so. Well, no, this is DeWitt.
That's DeWitt, and this is J.W.
W, so that would have been
his mother, right?
Oh, sure. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because it's John D. and then you have DeWitt.
Yeah. Right.
Then J.W.
Right. Yep. That's right.
I don't
thought about that.
Well, I've never seen that before, and I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of J.W.
I don't know as I have either. This is Grandpa Guild. I know that. I don't know what he was. And here's Grandpa Guild and Grandma Edna, and this is Hillis.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See, they had Romy and Mom, and then along came Tagalong, Hillis. And yeah, he was kind of spoiled.
That's right. I think you did say that Romy was older.
Yes,
than
he
Lois.
was the oldest.
Or Lillian, I mean.
Yeah. What's this?
I don't know.
Something,
great
oh,
thing.
at Fayette Church, Dad. Something, Dad. Here's UIU, you see. Fayette. I don't know where this was. John R. Mott came and spoke. It was something, you know, that Dad
Was
up.
doing, yeah.
Yep, he was doing something. Our friends. These must have been friends out in Boston. And I suppose this was his class, don't you think?
Sure.
See, there's, and I would suppose some of these people were their professors.
I suppose.
This must have been their chapel, you think? I bet it was, out of Boston. Here's some more pictures of them. Robinson Chapel, probably so. Worked there at Boston. Hospital teaming. Yep. Very interesting. Report. Yeah, what do you know? The team. Clinton, Stone, Depth, Cornell on Blue Hill. I don't know what that was. I do not know what that was. And what was this? Gridley Quality. This must have been some place where they worked, you suppose?
I guess.
But
It
I
says
don't-
there's soups and fish on trays. And
Yeah, I don't see that in that. Common Fountain. Looking west.
introducing Mrs. John D. Clinton.
Right, yeah, this is on their...
Honeymoon?
Honeymoon,
I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, this is on their honeymoon tonight for pools. Yeah. Yep. There she is. There they are. Yep. Mom. Ship the bridge, the road, everything. And then they, of course, went to Niagara Falls. And here they were down, and they had to walk under, and they had to get in those things. Different views of the Maid of the Mist. On the Maid of the Mist, yeah. That was that. They got some stamps. Palisades. This was also, I know that was on their honeymoon. Oop. When this is, I think this was actually before they lived. Camp, after breakfast. Oh, this was a Boy Scout bunch, evidently, they had. Fruit day at Cornell, evidently. Here's Mom. Oh my, in the ocean. Those outfits. That's something. Oh yeah, here they were. Special days, Mother's Day. Back from Plymouth, first Sunday in July. Go to church Sunday. Yeah, this was his congregation. And Mom was there someplace, I think. Usually. Easter. Oh my. Cinderella in Flowerland. That's probably some
At that church, yeah.
production. Eversley pageant. Well, and here's the first baby. And wash day. Mom was getting ready. That was her hope chest for the baby.
Okay.
Shower day. It's the month of groceries. Dad used to work at for a grocery store, and he would go and deliver groceries for some of the money. And this is the parsonage out in Cambridge. They got first prize for something.
I'd say dressing up, probably.
I think so. Well, there's Mom at home to Harvard, and here they are at home. Good night. In their twin beds that they had.
There you go.
Even in
Des Moines.
Des Moines. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Really, really, really.
This is more current stuff.
Huh?
This is more current stuff.
Oh yeah, right.
I thought I'd show Sarah what I looked like in 7th grade.
Oh yeah? Yeah, yeah. And this is your book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah.
Don't remember that.
Where was that?
I don't know. Is that like Grand Junction or something?
64. Boy, I don't remember. I don't know what that is. Are you in there? I don't think so.
I don't know. We took a picture, but I don't know. Maybe I was sick. I don't know.
Mrs. Mikey?
I guess.
Oh. Was she your kindergarten teacher?
No.
No.
Because Mrs. Scheist,
Oh, sure. I don't.
what was her name? We had kindergarten at the Methodist Church.
Uh-huh.
Scheidel.
Scheidel, that's right. Boy, I don't know that
So,
song.
yeah, it got me on that one.
What that was. Yeah. Dear Tom and Susan, that was from Santa. Yeah, for payment. Thanks for the lunch.
Nice little shot of Mary Beth. I assume that's Mary Beth, isn't it?
Yeah, that would have been Mary Beth.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm very dressed up.
64, and she died in 64. Yeah. Uh-huh. Text to baby. 1960, that was you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Me doing what I do best, sleep.
Yeah, we were trying to get a Christmas present card, which never did materialize, I don't think.
Yeah, I see that. Eric will like that one. I wish I still had those
This
glasses.
is good too.
That is a good one,
Yeah.
yeah. I should have played tuba.
Yeah, right. In a boat someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, a Valentine. This is a letter from Grandma. Uh-huh. There's one of your short haircuts.
I think this is when I must have got
Really?
my tonsils out, I bet.
Palmer in West Union.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Oh my. First grade, Mrs. Myers. How about that?
See, right in the middle singing. Tell ya.
You
Right.
betcha. First Methodist Church.
I think there's Scott Humiston, I think.
Probably.
Or anybody else.
The Christmas program at the First Methodist Church in Fayette.
Got me on everybody else, though. Hey, all right, doing the bunny hop, man.
Oh, yeah, right.
Talk about dancing with the stars. Oh, see, there you go.
There's the
little
kitty,
cat,
yeah.
yeah.
There's our kitty cat that we had to give away.
Mm-hmm.
On the way to West Union, I dropped him off someplace. Not nice, not nice.
And there's Nancy Twining.
Oh, boy.
See, that'll be John's story.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's a story for sure. Fayette Community, Mrs. Dilly, grade 2.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Yeah. Good picture.
Mm-hmm.
Good picture. 68. Well, that was a good picture of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Good family. 1268. And this is Mrs. Oderkirk. Where are you here? Oh, there you are, right in the middle. Yes, very good, very good. Your granddad, because a goose, when it was a family, there are geese, so you want to get your words and colors in the right places like this. Gross, beak, and well all come out okay. Your granddad. What was this about?
I don't know.
Dear Tom, oh, your printing is pretty super. Some people may think you are just a minnow swimming in Volga, but
A minnow.
it can be pretty good. See picture. I know you will keep on growing like this moose. Some folks think he is meese.
Because a goose went in the family are geese.
Yeah.
Typical
Granddad.
granddad. Yes, I should say.
Yes. Whoops, here. Yeah. And there we are, summer recreation. Oh, fun. That's Mrs. Heineman. That was in 70. That was, you in 4th grade, weren't you? How are your skills? Oh, there's another one. Diary of John.
Something I made to make it look old.
Oh, yes. Oh, my, yes.
Yes. Ooh, all right.
Oh, boy.
Woohoo, Eric. Junior high music flyer. Oh.
Gloria Henley.
Yeah, for trouble.
75.
My little ribbons. Junior high track.
Oh, really?
Junior high chorus.
Oh, bye.
Junior high boys basketball.
Oh, boy.
Prince and the Pauper.
Oh, my.
And football.
Oh, my. Yes.
Oh, my Lutheran.
Fit Green School, 72,
Must be
73.
6th grade. Ooh.
That was Sue.
No,
Now, there's Mrs. Mrs. Heyer.
Mm-hmm. So where's, she had Mrs. Butterfield. Where's Mrs. Butterfield? Oh, there's Mrs. Butterfield. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's always afraid of her.
Really?
Yeah, but see, I got along fine with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were kind of afraid of her.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
See, because Mrs. Heyer was 5th grade, and she was all nice, and then he went to 6th grade, and was like cracked the whip with Butterfield there.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as you did your work, you were fine with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about
I
that?
thought those were fun.
Yeah. Well, what do you know?
Yes.
That's quite a bunch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's the easy ones.
Oh.
Let's see here.
Oh, this is the easy one?
Yes. Favorite music.
Favorite what?
Favorite music.
Favorite music? My favorite music?
I know you like Vidor Staccato.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Always like that.
And of course, Dave plays it different than Alice Brown.
He what?
Dave plays it, you can tell it's not Alice playing it. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, he still plays it nice.
Oh, let's see.
Because you said, my dad always liked Jesu Joy of Man's Desire, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Okay.
he liked that. Favorite music.
Do you like instrumental music more, vocal music more, or classical music more? Or?
Well, I always like classical music, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I like WI music.
And that's that because that's what you guys would play at home. That's what Grandma Clinton would play, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because like now, I assume was she trained to be a classical pianist then, or what?
Well, her major, of course, is piano. But she taught 1 year, you know, at Humboldt.
Grandma Clinton did?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
1 year at Humboldt, and then she was going to get married, and so she had to go home and spend a year learning how to be a cook and learning to be
I suppose so.
yeah, a wife. So she stopped and went home for a year before she got married. But what are my favorite music, you know? I should have thought a little more about it. I always liked When the Deep Purple Falls Over Sleepy Garden Walls.
Oh, yeah.
I always liked that piece.
That's okay. You can think of this stuff and email me too later. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, how about favorite food?
Well, I always liked spinach.
Really? Okay.
I like spinach and I like sauerkraut.
Just plain, not like on like a lot of people like sauerkraut on brats and stuff.
Yeah, I like that too. But once when we lived in Iowa Falls, the folks went someplace, and I opened a can of sauerkraut and ate a lot of it. The next day, I went to school and I got rid of all of it.
Oh dear. Well, these things happen at school sometimes.
But
Cool.
then of
You
course,
always like liver and onions, right?
yeah, I do.
You and Sue always like that.
And we still have livered onions at Wesley Acres, and I understand they were going to have that tonight, and I would miss that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But that's okay.
Yes.
It's better being here.
There you go. Favorite place in the world?
Favorite place to work?
Well, yeah, that too. I would say favorite place in the world, but what is your favorite place to work? Or what was one of your favorite
One
places
of my
to work?
favorite places to work? Well, I suppose it would, one of my favorite ones, I guess, was Drake, because, well, and I like working at Turkey Valley also.
Yeah, they had a nice staff there.
Yeah, they did, and
I mean, not just the music staff, but the school seemed like.
yep, those were good years.
Now, did everybody have to drive in there, right? Because nobody really lived in Jackson Junction, right? Or
No, yeah, most of them either lived in Wacoma or St. Lucas or Protovan or, yeah, everybody drove, because the school was in the country, of course.
Oh yeah.
But we lived in Jackson, the school was in Jackson Junction. How can you function without Jackson Junction?
There you go, that's right.
And of course, I had some good student teachers from Luther, from Decorah. That was, they were good teachers, and I did have Nancy, what was her name?
Nickerson? I don't know.
Yeah, from Upper Iowa. She was there when Dave was. She was kind of sweet on Dave too, I think. Nancy, what was her name?
Was it Nancy
Anyway.
Nickerson?
Huh? Nickerson, yeah, Nancy
Sorry,
Nickerson.
That's the only Nancy I knew of. But
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, Nancy. She was my student teacher too from Upper Iowa, and so.
You never had Brian Snell as a student teacher, did you?
No,
Okay.
no, I never did.
Okay. Let's see. But okay, and like Drake, you like because I mean, I think the people and
Right.
the college kids and stuff. And,
Yeah.
and
Well, and maybe one of my favorite places to live was Fayette. I think probably because of living there as a child
Mhm.
and then coming back.
Not many people ever get to do that.
No,
I mean, they rarely get to go back, and
Yeah.
they rarely ever get to go back and live there again.
right, and raise a family that
Yeah.
you were there. So that,
Mhm.
and we of course liked that house. I think probably that was our favorite house.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, even though the squirrels did come down the chimney.
Luckily, the church was close, so I could go up there and let you know that.
Yes, and you came walking down
Yes,
the
I did.
aisle, and we said, Tom, what is the matter? And you said, there's something in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so we told Dave to go home with you, and he opened up the doors, I guess.
Must have.
I think that's what he said. I opened up the door, and of course, then the squirrel came down and went out.
There you go. So let that be a lesson to you if you have a squirrel in your house. There
Yeah.
you go.
I don't know why we didn't have a cover over that chimney. but we didn't.
Good. So what's your favorite place to go in the world? If you could go
Favorite
back
place
there
to go?
again.
To go and visit my family.
Well, yes, that one. Okay, yes, you get stars for that one. Okay,
Yeah.
now, like Washington D.C. or.
Oh, well, the year that when your dad died in '70, we had planned as a family to go out east. Remember?
Oh, so that's why we went out east in '72.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I never realized that.
Yeah, we had planned to go out east, and so since we had planned that, and Dave, of course, liked to drive.
Yeah, he did do a lot of the driving. Yeah.
And so we did go, and we stopped over at Eleanor and stopped there our first stop, and then
that was a good
went
vacation.
on. And Washington, D.C. was an interesting place, I thought, too.
Okay, so because somehow we got to your guys' friend, the Welches.
Welches, yes. Well, that's where we stayed.
So we could go right to New York
Wes
City.
Welch was in my class at home in Fayette, and of course we knew Bob Welch.
Right.
And they both lived in New Jersey, and so we had talked to them, and they said, you don't want to go and live
Stay in
and
there,
get in New York. Just come stay with us, and then we'll put you on the bus and take you into New York City.
Right.
So that's what we did. We stayed.
Yeah, that was pretty slick.
Yeah.
And we were able to get around New York City actually fairly well, I thought. I mean, because I think we did Statue of Liberty.
Yes. Oh, yes. We went out there, and I didn't go way up. I think maybe some of you did.
Yeah, because that's when they used to let you do that.
Yes. And of course.
I think we went to Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw the Rockettes.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in Des Moines this year,
I see that, yeah. And I remember going down the dark street and saying, hey man, how's it going? And Dave whisking us along quickly. So
yes.
Apparently you're not supposed to say that in New York City like you do back in
not.
Iowa. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Okay, yeah, like I say, we went to Washington, D.C. I know that we found one guy that would take us around. Some guy we just paid and he just kind of
yes, we went on a
tour,
I believe.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when we stayed with Barry and Donna, right?
Yes, that was down in Washington, in the Washington area.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, we did.
Oh, and I suppose that was the trip on the way out. I suppose we had to stop in Springfield and stay with the Carls. George Carl.
Yes, yes.
The minister who was a friend of everybody.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. Yeah, that was a good trip.
Yeah. Then, of course, the trip to California was fun, too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we take the trailer then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah, we camped. I think we camped a lot.
And you and Grandma, she always wanted to sit by the window, but you did too.
Yes. Grandma. Let's see here.
And that's, of course, when we went to the smallest world.
It's a small world, yes. And who knew that she'd write the words down later on and want me to sing them from our family.
Right.
How embarrassing. That's all I had.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well.
You done pretty good.
Yeah.
For this late at night.
Yes, this late at night. Yes, yes, yeah.
Because you talked about how you met Dad.
Yeah.
I kind of knew that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the story of where you came up with our names.
Oh, yes. The way I came up with your names, I always knew this singer who was named John Charles Thomas. And I always said if I had boys, I was going to name them one John, Charles, and Thomas.
There you go.
And that's what I did. But of course, John fit in with John, my dad.
Raymond. Okay, John Clinton.
And we got that from the let-to-do granddads, John and Raymond, and David.
Oh, okay. And Eric was asking a question about where did this thing come that, okay, like my dad's name was Charles Raymond Rutt, but everybody knew him was Ray.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Dave was Charles David Rutt, but everybody calls him Dave. Of course, Don. Okay.
Yeah.
So where did that thing come from about the middle name being the name that everybody, knew the person by? I mean, was there anybody else in our family that's like that, or?
I don't know, but that's what we did, and Charles David. But you were Thomas Clinton.
Clinton, right.
So you were
Well, at least I got a middle name.
John, David, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And since you were going to be the last one, we thought it'd be nice to have Clinton.
Better get Clinton in there pretty soon.
You
Yeah.
betcha.
Okay, so where did Susan K come? We just liked it?
Yeah, we just liked that, and I think Grandma Lois said there was a Susan Rutt, but we just always
Really?
liked Susan, and Susan K went together, so that's
good,
what
yeah.
we called her.
So, and now Mary Beth was always just Mary Beth Rutt. She didn't
Yeah.
have a middle name, right?
It was,
Beth?
Mary was the first term. Beth, I always liked.
So I guess I just always thought of her as Mary Beth.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
did. We
Yeah.
just called her Mary Beth.
Mhm.
But I liked the name Beth from Little Women. There was some
really?
Beth in there,
Mhm.
and I liked her.
Mhm.
And so that's where I kind of got the name, but I liked Beth. And so Mary hooked on with that, and that also was a Rutt. A lot of Rutts were named Mary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you
I didn't
look
know that.
back on their family tree, there were quite a few Marys in the Rutt family tree,
Okay.
which I have, you know,
Hmm.
that in my desk. I have that family tree. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
real good one of the Rutts.
Okay.
But the Clintons, Lois started out on that, but we never
Mhm.
did get
Well, it
that.
sounds like at least Dick's doing the guile side of it, at least.
Yeah, Dick, oh yeah, he's really into that.
Mhm.
But,
Let's
Yep.
see, okay, we covered the families,
mhm,
and the names, and where you lived,
mhm.
and your favorite colors.
Well, as I mature, I like purple.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And I
That's
always
royal color.
have, and I used to like brown, but I don't care too much for that
Oh,
anymore.
okay, favorite flowers.
Oh, yes, I like the lily of the valley.
Mm-hmm.
I just like those. That's my favorite flower.
And speaking of flowers, how did they come to have those hollyhocks? Thus that we had the hollyhock house at the
Yeah.
house on 37th Street. Was that something Grandma Clinton liked, or?
No, because along the side of that place there were hollyhocks that grew up outside of that little place there,
Mhm,
and so we called it Hollyhock House.
Okay, so I wasn't in this, okay. you must have
Dad
came
used to
along.
think that he would use that kind of as a place to go off and study,
Yeah, an outdoor study.
but that
yeah.
never did work out much. It was too hot.
True,
Yeah.
but he always had the basement set up for you.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a pretty good office for him.
Oh yes, yeah, yep, yep.
That's where he had his Des Moines Visual Creation,
Yes, that's right.
which was started by DeWitt and May Virginia Clinton.
Yeah, that's right. They gave the money to start that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, yep, that's right.
That was the main, oh,
Yes, it was.
yeah. I was just thinking about how May Virginia was such a boisterous,
Yes, well,
such just
both-
life, red hair. And,
yeah. Both of the grandparents, both of them, the grandmas were the fire in the family.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
you-
Edna was too.
The
Grandma-
guy outside too? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Grandma's,
all right.
yeah, both of the husbands were very
So
quiet.
now Grandma Guile, she's the one that had the parakeets and the canaries and stuff? Or you
No,
like-
that was Grandma Helfer, great Grandma Helfer.
Oh, okay, that one you were showing me that was divorced and stuff?
Yes, yes, yeah, she was the one.
Oh.
We used to go to Cedar Rapids, and she had this canary. And I can't remember what the name of it was. And I remember once when we were down there, they wanted to give me something, and so they wanted to give me a quarter, and I wouldn't take it. And they said, why? They said, why doesn't she want to take this? I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't.
Well, there you go.
Because a quarter was a lot of money
I
then,
should say it was a lot of money
which
then.
is a lot of money to do it right now.
Well, yes. I mean, back then a penny was a lot of money.
Yes.
Because, could you buy candy for,
Oh, yeah, a penny?
well, even less, wasn't it? Or no?
No, it was a penny, or maybe what, 2 for a penny?
Well, so no, I mean, okay, so they always talk about that. So if you, when you were a kid and you'd go to a store, I mean, would they let you get candy or?
I never got much candy.
I was going to say, I don't remember what you were talking about.
I didn't get an allowance or anything like that. I do remember once that when we would go to Waterloo to get our school clothes from Fayette, and I do remember once that we went into, it was a drugstore, it was a chain, and I can't remember which it was right now, but I remember I picked up some candy or some gum or something. And when we got outside, Mother said, "Where did you get that?" And I said, "Well, I picked it up." And she said, "We're going right back in, and you tell the lady you're sorry." And I never forgot that.
I bet.
And I will say, of course, my family was my brother, DeWitt, who was 4 years older, and my sister, who was Lois, and she was 6 years older. And she and I always had the bedroom together. We always slept in our bedroom. And as Lois got older, she went with the boys more than I ever did.
Ah, yes.
And she would go out with the boys after play practice or something, and the folks would, of course, stay way up until she came home.
Right.
And especially Mother she would come up and in the bedroom, and she would kind of grill Lois as to what what were they doing. And so I used to lie in bed and think, oh, I'm never going to do this, and of course they got really, they bawled her out.
Right. So then of course the story was that you guys would go searching for her sometimes.
Yeah, we'd go to.
So it was just you and Dee and Granddad Clinton, or was the whole family?
No, just DeWitt and myself. She'd give us a flashlight. Well, we didn't know where to go.
She probably can't go out late at night because you can't see the preacher's wife out running around. Okay.
No, I don't know why. Well, I think she stayed home in case.
Lois would come home. Okay.
But you know that we did find out later that they were up in what we called the sunken gardens. It was it was where the old chemistry building used to be.
Okay.
And it burned down, and so they made a garden in the basement where it had burned down. And of course that's where all the boys and the girls would go to
get better acquainted.
Yes.
Yes. As they say.
And of course we didn't know that, so we didn't go there.
Well, there you go then.
But Lois said that's probably where they were.
That is a good story about Aunt Lois. Well, see, there you go. I mean, I can see that Aunt Lois had a lot of that May, Virginia in her too.
Oh yeah, she was a very good musician. She was a
Very
good pianist.
Musician, yeah.
She played at her own graduation on the organ at church, at the Fayette church.
Yeah.
And she gave a senior recital, and of course there's the story about her and Russell Harris.
Oh yes, you must tell that one.
Her piano and her voice teacher, and Mother had her gold set on Lois getting married to
Mrs. Russell Harris. There you go.
But Russell didn't have the same idea.
No.
And then along came the English teacher, who was a more mature lady. She was a maiden lady, Bertha Supplee, and she made a pitch for Russell too. And Mother was very angry with her. Then Dad always had the Martha Jane Collette. She used to be an English teacher, I think, at Upper Iowa. And every Sunday when she would leave, she would tell Dad what he'd done wrong. She was his critic.
Oh, brother.
Yes. So, and she liked Dad real well. And so she would come by once in a while, and she would say, she'd come in the back porch and she'd say, "Ooh, is anybody home?" And Mother'd say, "Shh, don't say anything," because Mom didn't like Martha Jane Collette. So, what are you doing?
Well, I was going to do something else, but I guess I'll do it later.
Oh, Anyway, I think that was probably...
That was very good.
Yes.
Okay.
That's quite a...
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I My land, how long does that go?
I don't know, we'll find out.
You didn't, it isn't off. There you go.
Okay.